3 ideas from the book The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Steven Covey. If you use these 3 things, you will not only become much more effective, but also more successful and happier. We have summarized this New York Times bestseller for you here in 2 videos. It's best to stay tuned until the end of the video. There are implementing tasks at the end to put the video into practice. The author Steven Covey died in 2012, but this book makes him immortal because it's one of the most successful non-fiction books of all time. Covey worked for decades as a professor, speaker, and global entrepreneur. For this book, he took a closer look at biographies of many successful people within the last 200 years. He found that effective and successful people often practice 7 habits. These 7 habits could also be called 7 paradigms, principles, or ways of thinking. The author himself said in his life he did not always implement all 7 principles. So, you see, it is an ongoing lifelong exercise for anybody. In this video, we concentrate on the first 3 principles. Idea number 1. Be proactive. Let's look at 2 friends of mine here as an example. One is named Andy. He does an apprenticeship as a metal worker. Andy gets angry about many things, for example, often about his father, about his workload, about not having much money, or about politics. He is also very influenced by whims and moods of others. If he notices that he is getting too fat, then of course his thyroid or his workload are to blame. When he complains about his dating life, of course it's because of dating apps are to blame and the women who are rejecting him. He often thinks and acts reactively. Another friend of mine named Jonas was in the military for 3 months in 2021. The sports and camaraderie appealed to him, but he also realized that the military didn't suit him. He had to follow completely meaningless orders and didn't see any higher purpose in this activity. However, he knew that he had committed himself for 3 months. Therefore, he wanted to keep this commitment and focus on the positive things during this time, for example, the development in fitness. Generally, he thinks in a solution-oriented way instead of a problem-oriented way. He has improved his skills in motivating himself and persevering during this 3 months in the military. After that, he chose a completely different apprenticeship to become a male nurse. In it, he has found a higher purpose in helping people. He also finds some things in this profession that bother him, for example, some procedures of conventional medicine or the profit orientation of the healthcare system. However, he also knows that unfortunately he cannot influence such things. He does his best with all the things he can influence in this job. Proactive people take the initiative and assume responsibility. They think solution-oriented instead of problem-oriented. They focus on what is within their sphere of influence. Now you can give us a proactive thumbs up if you want, because that helps our work here at YouTube. Idea number 2. Begin with the end in mind. Imagine you're going to a loved one's funeral. 30 people are sitting in the church. You hear organ music. You feel the sadness, but also the gratitude of having known this person. You walk forward to the open casket, and you are surprised to see yourself lying there. It's your funeral. All the people have come to pay their last respects to you. You hear that there will be 4 speakers in your funeral, 1 from your family, 2 friends from school and college, and 1 workmate. What would they say about you, my friend? Author Steven Covey is here to remind us of our finitude, and he names how important direction in life and goals are. We recommend to have 5-year goals and annual goals, and we should use one of our most powerful abilities for goal achievement. That's our imagination. A lot of successful people work with imaginations. So vividly imagine the goals as if you have already achieved them. I often do this in a meditation or before I fall asleep. The next morning I visualize the current key actions I will take today to achieve the goal. In the long run, you can master and achieve many things in this way. So with each day, we can determine what people will say about us later at our funeral. Idea number 3. Put first things first. We need to learn the distinction between urgent and important things. Many people focus only on urgent things but neglect the important things. US President Eisenhower, nicknamed Ike, developed a matrix here to help us distinguish. Of course, we need to take care of some urgent things, but we also need to learn to say no. Catchphrase here is less but better. Effective people source out unimportant things as best they can. If it has to be done, it is done quickly and the time spent is specifically reduced. Urgent are all things that have a deadline. For example, submitting a seminar paper in studies, answering a letter from an authority, or buying a Christmas present in time. Most things, however, have no official deadline, but are very important. For example, sports, self-reflection, self-education, hobbies, meet family or friends, experiences, time in the nature, or personal goals. For Christmas presents, for example, it would be important not to buy just anything in time, but to select an individually suitable gift for the respective person. I usually buy Christmas gifts months in advance, so it is important but not urgent. This principle helps us to set priorities better, put first things first. We need to learn to reduce unimportant things and do urgent things more efficiently. This way, we have more time for the things that are really important to us. Summary and implementation tasks. Idea number 1. Be proactive. Take initiative and responsibility. Think solution-oriented instead of problem-oriented. Your inner life determines your reaction to external stimuli from other people or from society. Focus on what you can influence, and you can influence more than you think. Implementation task for you. Consciously observe your thoughts. Do they only revolve around the problem? Or do you develop concrete self-determined steps to solve the problem? Idea number 2. Begin with the end in mind. Visualize your own funeral. What do you want important people to say about you at your funeral? How do you want to have lived? Train your visualization skills. Implementation task here. In the evening, put yourself in a state as if you have already achieved a goal. In the morning, visualize a specific action you will take to get closer to the goal. Idea number 3. Put first things first. Learn to prioritize. Work through urgent things as efficiently as possible. Learn to completely avoid or massively shorten unimportant or time-consuming things. Devote more time to tasks that help your mission, relationships, values, and goals. Implementation task here. Combine 2 to 3 urgent things into one work block. Then focus on a non-urgent task that is very important to you personally. In the next part of the video, we will focus on the remaining 4 principles from this book. Thanks for watching, and off we go into implementation.